Breaking news, millions of New Yorkers just got their rent freeze. This is the outcome that rent-stabilized renters have been waiting for, and it was famously a campaign promise from Mayor Mamdani. Here are 3 really important things that you need to keep in mind about this rent freeze. If this is your first time seeing me, my name is Alia Mohammed. I'm the co-founder of Open Igloo, and I share tips and info on renting in New York City, so be sure to give us a follow. So number 1, the Rent Guidelines Board voted a 0% rent increase on 1-year and 2-year renewals. That means rent-stabilized renters can lock in a 0% rent increase for up to 2 years. Number 2, it's really important to remember that this vote only applies to rent-stabilized leases that start on or after October 1st of this year. So if you are signing a rent-stabilized renewal before October 1st, your increase will be based on last year's vote, which was a 3% increase for a 1-year and a 4.5% increase for a 2-year. And that leads me to point number 3. If you haven't signed your rent-stabilized renewal yet and it is before October 1st of this year, you are going to want to only sign a 1-year renewal. Your rent will go up by 3% because that's what last year's vote was. And then for next year's renewal, you're going to lock in that 0% for 2 years. And if you need a little help understanding what your legal increase should be, we've created a rent-stabilized calculator linked in our bio. Do you have a rent-stabilized apartment? Are you happy about this outcome? Let us know in the comments.
Yeah, I saw this in the news. I'm like, oh, this is a big deal in New York. I've never heard of anything like it before, and I think that's why it's such a big deal. And I was just doing a little bit of listening. I had to do some more reading on it, because a lot of times when they start sharing this type of news, I always wonder, like, okay, what are the exceptions? What makes a building eligible for rent stabilizers, like a rent stabilization or a rent freeze? It's to me, it's like I need to get into the details of it to really figure out if this is good, if this is bad, or just have an indifferent view. But anytime you're able to help the people of your city that are struggling or that are having a hard time with affordability, I think that's a good thing. Now, there's always another side to this, and that's why I think it's important to dig a little bit deeper, to get behind the sizzle and the lights and the celebration, and see, like, hey, what is this really going to look like? Is this going to be a setback that's setting us up for even higher rent a year or 2 from now? Is this going to put us in neighborhoods that we don't want to be in? Like, that's the kind of stuff I'm interested in finding out more about it. And I'm sure landlords have a lot, to say about it. In fact, I have a video of a landlord out there, and I want to get, play his video, see what he's talking about it. Then I'll come back and give y'all my commentary. Just by looking at this video, he don't look like he happy about it.
You must not take someone's success and feel that it's a burden, it's a must that he has to pay for your loss. No, it's America. You gotta understand, my success is not yours. You're not my partner.
New York Mayor Zoran Mamdani's affordability agenda has put him on a collision course with the city's landlords. He wants to freeze the rent for about 1 million rent-stabilised apartments. Buildings like this one have rent increases regulated by a city board and are much cheaper than the typical market rate apartment. This your building?
Yeah, come on.
Humberto Lopes owns more than 100 buildings across the city. He says a rent freeze paired with rising property taxes and repair costs are leaving some landlords in the red.
We've renovated and we stuck.
I told y'all, landlords probably wasn't gonna like that. I mean, it's not like I'm saying something that's like mind blowing, but I would only imagine that they wouldn't have liked that. So, and I wonder, he said it could possibly cause them to operate in the red. I always wonder, when they say in the red, are they saying in the red based off their goals, like if they had lofty goals and now they're not meeting those goals, or is it really going to have them in red to where they're in a deficit because of the rent freeze? I wonder if he's going to explain that in here. Let's see.
Let's say the $760,000 into this building. In the meantime, this property tax kept on going up and up and up. As of last year, we're at $77,000.
You're paying $77,000 US dollars in property tax a year for this building?
Yeah, a year.
Right? How much rent are tenants paying here?
The rents are basically anywhere from $1,500 to $2,500.
Is that because they're rent stabilized?
They're rent stabilized. So basically, a 3-bedroom apartment, huge, for $2,300, you don't find that nowhere.
The Rent Guidelines Board found landlords had a 6% increase in income for buildings with rent-stabilised units in 2023 to 2024 and a 12% increase the year prior. Humberto Lopes disputes the findings and has formed a coalition of property owners to fight Mamdani's housing policy.
12% the year before and 6% the year after, that's 18%. That's not cheap. 18% increase? Yeah, that's problematic.
People forget that real estate is a business. You must understand that. This is not for free. This bullshit of free doesn't go this way. That's how you destroy something.
So a lot of people want rent-stabilised apartments because they feel they can't live in New York City without it because it costs so much to rent. So do you see that there is a problem?
Here's the problem. Let me stop you. I want a Bugatti, but I can afford a Mercedes. You understand me now? Don't go for the Bugatti. I can't afford $6,000 a month rent. Let those people who can afford it, let them buy it. It's America. You afford it, you pay for it. You can't afford it, find another apartment. You don't have to live in Manhattan.
How do you fix this immense wealth disparity in this city when a quarter of New Yorkers live in poverty?
Who cares?
You don't care for your fellow Americans?
No, it's what you have no program for them. Or did you not understand that you must
get them
solve
fed
their problem?
and get them going somewhere.
You get them going by knowing their losses and how you can put them back on their feet, not by giving everything for free.
Yeah, this is going to be problematic for both sides because, you know, the landlord, he's saying, hey, this is my business. I want to make as much money as possible. And the fellow Americans of New York are saying, hey, it's too expensive. We can't afford to live here. Going up 18%, y'all, that's a lot of money. Like when you're paying, because, you know, I pay a decent penny for my place. 18% increase, that's a lot of money. And you know, living in New York, like he's saying, you know, well, if they can't afford to live here, go somewhere else. Yeah, I get what he's saying, but, you know, you also have to be mindful of the people who live there. You know, everybody can't own a building. Everybody can't be well off. You know, I think it said he owned 100 buildings. And I think a lot of times when people get it out the mud and they get after it, they work hard, they're like, well, why can't everybody else work hard? You know, you can work hard. I've known people, you know, who've worked hard all their life. And that doesn't mean they're rich. You know, my dad is a perfect example. He's always got up and beat the bushes, as he would say, you know, go out and find work, even if there wasn't any work in, you know, the different fields he worked in. But we weren't rich and we aren't rich. I mean, you know, granted, my dad, he'd admitted like he could have made some better decisions with money and things would have been easier, but rich, I don't know. I don't know if that would have happened. And I think you just kind of have to be considerate. He seems like he's really irritated. I'm not going to say he doesn't care, but because of his irritation, the statement he made came across like, you know, well, that's not my problem. And I don't think that's just a good way to be in terms of a human, especially if you're doing well. I'm not saying that they should just be rent freezing. I don't know enough of the details that are behind the scene, because I know like politicians will get in office and they'll start doing things because they have a long-term agenda. You know, they'll do things to win the favor of people, or you can get some, which is really rare, who genuinely have a heart for people and they get in there and serve. They don't steal, but that's rare. So I don't know if this is good, bad, or indifferent, but time will tell. But I think it's great conversation, especially if you live in New York. If you are dealing with this, I would love to hear what you have to say in the comment section. Y'all let me know what you think. Don't forget to connect with the brand online at www.there'shopebrand.com. If you want to donate, you can donate to this channel. That information is in the description. If you want to buy some merch, that information is also in the description. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, make sure you subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next video.